The road ahead is empty. It's paved with miles of the unknown. Whatever seems to be your destination, take life the way it comes. Take life the way it is. Horizon in the distance, so close and yet so far away. You shouldn't be surprised when on arrival the dream has flown away and fear's not here to stay. The road ahead never gives away the promise. The road ahead is a highway or a dead-end street. A dead-end street. Raindrops on your windscreen, they fall from heaven or from hell. You drive into the light or into darkness, uncertainty as your guide. The road ahead will never give away the promise. Oh, the road ahead is a highway or a dead-end street. Whoa, the road ahead never answers any questions, and nothing is sure along the way, not even tomorrow. With miles of the unknown ahead of you, the road ahead is empty. It's paved with miles of the unknown. Whatever seems to be your destination, take life the way it comes. Take life the way it is.
It's the 11th day of the first month of this new year, 2021, the International Year of Peace and Trust, the International Year of Creative Economy for Sustainable Development, the International Year of Fruits and Vegetables, the International Year for the Elimination of Child Labor, and the International Year of Health and Care Workers. Earthquake Awareness Month activities continue, especially in this Earthquake Awareness Week here in Jamaica. The month of January is also observed by our friends at Maggie, Nestle Jamaica, as Soup Month. It's Cosray Constitution Day in Micronesia, Independence Day, in fact, Independence Manifesto in Morocco, National Unity Day in Nepal, And Canadians are celebrating Sir John A. Macdonald's birthday in Canada. It's International Thank You Day. Hoy es lunes el 11 de enero 2021. Y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones. Y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. La misión continúa para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos. C'est lundi le 11 janvier 2021 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez où que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être votre service pour une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme l'un de ceux parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 13h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue. And if you didn't understand a word, that's fine. All we were saying is that it's Monday, the 11th of January, 2021, and we greet you well wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome.
It's paved with miles of the unknown. Whatever seems to be your destiny.
Good afternoon to those of you listening to us on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9. From Moran Point to Negril Point, from the Goat Islands to Galena Point. This is Power 106 FM, serving Jamaica and the diaspora. Hello to those of you tuned in via the Power 106 FM app, which you would have downloaded from the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on the nature of your device. Downloading is free. Listening is free whenever, wherever. We welcome those of you who have dialed a designated number to listen to Power 106 FM from the United States and the United Kingdom. If you're in the United Kingdom and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, your number is 0330-606-0953, 0330-606-0953. Those in the United States who wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM can call 631-359-8281, 631-359-8281.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15.
The following is a program advisory from Power 106 FM. Please be advised that the program Dear Pastor with Reverend Dr. Aaron Dumas has been reduced to 1 hour, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Thursday, starting Monday, November 2. That is Dear Pastor, now 1 hour, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Power 106 FM apologizes for any inconvenience this program change may cause. The proceeding was a program advisory from Power 106 FM. Listen to the story of the Jamaican diaspora on Diaspora Check-In every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. during both sides of the story with host Dervan Malcolm, the story of Jamaicans at home and abroad. That's Diaspora Check-In every Wednesday during both sides of the story, brought to you by GK Western Union. Receive money directly into your bank account today.
Not even tomorrow. With miles of the unknown ahead of you. The road ahead is empty. It's great. With miles of the unknown. Whatever seems to be your destination, take life the way it comes. Take life the way it is.
Good afternoon to those of you listening to us on Facebook Live, not just listening and watching. We're streaming live video on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page and affiliated pages. Welcome if you're on the Dervan Malcolm YouTube channel as well. That's another avenue through which you can not just hear, but see what's happening in the studios of Power 106 FM. We thank those of you who have found other ways of listening, like the Gleaner's website, go-jamaica.com. Subscribers to onespotmedia.com also have access to both sides of the story in particular and Power 106 FM in general. What's on your mind this afternoon? Always anxious to hear from you. The numbers to call 876-922-4112, 876-922-4113, 876-922-4114, and 876-922-4115. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, but also your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, and you can call us on the WhatsApp line, which is 876-365-3346. The WhatsApp line and the text line are one and the same, 876-365-3346. Looking forward to your full participation. After all, it is your program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Let's give you a quick roundup of what's been making the news this afternoon in Jamaica. According to the Gleaner's News app, the experts from the World Health Organization are due to arrive in China this week for a long-anticipated investigation into the origins of the coronavirus pandemic. The experts will arrive on Thursday and will meet with Chinese counterparts, the National Health Commission said in a one-sentence statement that gave no other details. It wasn't immediately clear whether the experts will travel to the central Chinese city of Wuhan, where the coronavirus was first detected in late 2019. Negotiations for the visit have been long underway. We're anxious to hear the outcome of those sessions and monitoring and revision of what happened or did not happen in Wuhan, China, that could have given birth to a pandemic the likes of which we'd never seen before now. The police in Trelawney, closer to home now, the police in Trelawney have launched a probe into the death of a 4-year-old girl, Chloe Brown, and the injuring of her father at their home in Freeman's Hall, Ulster Spring, today. The police say information received is that on Sunday, the 10th of January, a dispute developed between two brothers, which resulted in threats being issued. They further say that it is reported about 1:05 a.m. Chloe and her father were at home when he was called by someone outside of his home. When he opened the door, a tussle reportedly ensued, followed by loud explosions. The police say the child was shot in the abdomen, while her father was shot in one of his legs. They were taken to hospital where Chloe was pronounced dead and her father admitted in stable condition. The brother and another man are now in custody. Our poor children, you see, this is why we can't support certain things in this country. Here we have perhaps one of the most murderous set of people in the world. That's just a fact of life. And the statistics point to that. And at the same time, these are some of the most affable and hospitable people you can find anywhere in the world. And therefore, what that says to us is that we are a contradiction in terms. When, as we always say in Jamaican parlance, when we're good, we're good. And when we're bad, we're really bad. We've also, for a long time, been hearing that a significant number of the murders committed in this country are domestic violence-related murders, of a domestic nature. We've been hearing that for a very long time in this country. Domestic violence, gang violence, inter-gang violence, etc. And then, of course, there are the other cases. But as much as we're concerned for all of us as a people in this country, we're even more so concerned about our children. We must have some of the most traumatized children in the world. When you think, and I've been hearing stories, people have related to me that they have children who stay close to the floor under the bed. And every time they hear the gunshots being fired in the community, they rush under the bed, they're shivering, they are crying, they are scared, they are traumatized, which is why it is so remarkable when our children do well. We must never take that for granted. On the one hand, you could say perhaps the conditions in Jamaica are favorable to resilience, making our children resilient. And that might not be a bad thing, but come on, man. Do we have to do it this way? Does it have to be gunshots every night? Gunshots in communities, the children are trying to do whatever little work they can do from home, homework, and all they can hear is gunshots, gunshots, gunshots. And a lot of it is interrelated. People in the same household, as in family, people in the same community in which they would have grown up. The same people, one-on-one. And where is the voice of reason? Are we bereft of reasonable people in our households and in our communities? People who, because every family has somebody, at least one person, who the entire family will listen to. Every gang has at least one person that everybody will listen to. Every community, there is always that person, and that's where leadership comes in, and that's what leadership is all about. We're accustomed, no matter how bad the situation is, for one person to step forward and say, no, man, I idiot thing that. No. Leg of that. Take it easy. Calm down, man. There's always that one person, and we need to get back to that stage where no matter how bad things are, there is somebody, at least one person, who can prevail upon everybody else to say, look here, man, this thing no make it. It not right. It not going anywhere. But my God, can we stop traumatizing our children in this country? It's bad enough and horrific enough when we kill them. And that's terrible. It's even worse when they're constantly being traumatized and we expect all of them to perform at the same level of excellence. When we don't even know, some of us don't know what they're going through at home. They're scared to step outside of the house for fear of stray bullets. And all because of, as we say in Jamaican parlance, some little waste man. Because it's only waste people behave like that. Nobody with a purpose behaves like that. Yet, but what do we expect? For a long time, we have been glorifying violence in this country. When you watch Entertainment Report, the number one on the charts is a song that is talking about blowing out marrow, fly, and skin burn and whatever. Yeah, that is what we have been engendering. That's what we have been nurturing in this country. And I don't know, how do I bring myself to the point of supporting that kind of thing? How can I come to the point of supporting people who call themselves artists and they don't feel that they're wicked artists or bad artists or big artists unless they're chanting violence and murder and mayhem and death and destruction? How can we support that? But people support it and people support them. People support it and they support them. And these are the trending songs. No, we're a contradiction in terms. We're a conflicted people. On the one hand, the visitors to this country will tell you we're the most hospitable people they have ever met. And on the other hand, we are some of the most violent people. How do we reconcile the two? Is there a middle ground? Whatever we do, please, we're begging, can we stop traumatizing our children? Can we allow our children to sleep in peace one night? At some point? This wild firing of weapons in communities, which has been going on for some time now. My mother used to talk about haunted people. Too many haunted people in Jamaica, man. Too many haunted people in Jamaica. Your contribution to Jamaica is just at 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the night to just fire your M16 or whatever other rifle you're using. That's all you can do. That is your contribution to Jamaica. That is your purpose. That's what you're going to do for the rest of your life. However limited that is, it seems, when you engage in that kind of behavior. We're sick and tired of being sick and tired of this kind of behavior. And it's at every level. At every level. It's just not right. And as I'm saying, as adults, we, as much as we too are traumatized, we have a certain defense mechanism, one way or another. But we're worried about the children. We are worried about the trauma that our children are going through. And there's an expression that says, hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people. In other words, we continue to traumatize our children. We are fomenting a great monster. We're creating a great monster that is going to come back to haunt us. That's what is going to come out of that trauma. That's what we're doing. Where are the law-abiding citizens in this country? Where are the law-abiding citizens in our families? Where are the law-abiding citizens in our communities? Where are the law-abiding citizens in this country? We have to do our duty. We need to stop hurting our children. We really need to. But then again, they're not even listening to me, I'm sure. They're maybe listening to the number one, the biggest tune in Jamaica now that is telling them to bust up marrow and burn up skin and all of that. What a tragedy.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30.
Keep a gratitude journal and each day record at least one thing for which you are grateful. This can help to improve your sense of well-being. This mental health tip was brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Join Jason Downer, Dawit Jeffrey, and Sekou Hunter every second and fourth Thursday at 8 p.m. live and exclusively on Power 106 FM for Magava's Raising Boys and the Journey to Manhood. Do you have a son? Are you the guardian for boys? Do you teach or work with boys? What are some of the challenges you face? Are you searching for answers? Are you concerned about the state of our nation boys and males in general? Raising boys, teaching boys, preparing boys. Magava Raising Boys and the Journey to Manhood. Join us.
Dear Pastor with Reverend Dr. Aaron Dumas on Power 106 FM is now 1 hour, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Thursday. 1 hour of solid advice, great interaction, and a belly full of laughs. That's Dear Pastor, now 1 power-packed hour, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Thursday here on Power 106 FM.
It's a Monday afternoon, just after 2:30, and that means time for Land Solutions. It's the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land, you've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4112, 876-922-4113, 876-922-4114, and 876-922-4115. The text line for Land Solutions is the same as the WhatsApp number, 876. Calicia Findlay is hosting this afternoon, and perhaps she can remind us of the text line and the WhatsApp number for Land Solutions this afternoon. Good afternoon, Calicia.
Afternoon, Dervan. The text line and WhatsApp line is 876-881-5254. Again, that's 876-881-5254.
And of course, there's also the email address gloria@landsolutionsja.com, gloria@landsolutionsja.com. The website, landsolutionsja.com, landsolutionsja.com. The Facebook page, facebook.com/landsolutionsja. The law firm Brown, Findlay and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center in Halfway Tree Square. That's the intersection of Winchester Road and Hope Road. They also have an office upstairs, Shop 6, the JN Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. They encourage us to call ahead before turning up in light of the COVID-19 protocols all around. The numbers to call the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company, 876-908-1950 or 876-908-3518. In a moment, your host on Land Solutions today, attorney at law, Calicia Findlay.
Excuse me. Thanks again, Dervan, and good afternoon to you and to our listeners, and especially to our frequent listeners. So often, many people will call or message us to say they listen to us every week. A special thank you to all of you who always tune in. Today, I want to discuss divorce, the ending of relationships in the context of land matters. Because so often, a lot of the land issues that we see come out of the end of matrimonial relationships. So we can start off by talking about divorces, common law relationships, and what they have to do with our land issues. And again, our numbers to call in, 876-922-4112-5, and our text line, 876, and again, it's the same as the WhatsApp line, 876-881-5254. To get a divorce in Jamaica, you must show that you have been married for at least 2 years. This surprises many people. Often people come in and they say, the marriage isn't working out, got married 6 months ago, and there's nothing we can do. Because you have to show that you have been married for at least 2 years. There's an exception to that, which I'll get to shortly. So in addition to showing that you have to be married for at least 2 years, you have to show that the marriage has broken down for at least 1 year. So you can't be in a marriage, even if you're in a marriage for 20 years, you have an argument last week and you decide, all right, that's it, that's the end of the marriage, I'm now going to file for divorce. No. So you can't say the marriage has just broken down for a week or a month. You have to show that the marriage has broken down for a year. In Jamaica, we have what we call, it's what we call a no-fault jurisdiction, meaning you don't have to show that one party is at fault in order to get a divorce. But even though you don't have to show that one party isn't necessarily at fault to get a divorce, you still have to state a brief reason when you are filing for a divorce. So as I just said, you have to show that you have been married for at least 2 years. If you have not been married for 2 years and you want to get a divorce in Jamaica, you have to file a special application to the court to grant you permission to apply for a divorce. And yes, it sounds ridiculous that you're actually begging the court to allow you to apply for a divorce if you haven't been married for 2 years, but that is what the law says. And usually the court will only grant that in extreme circumstances. So if you can show perhaps that there is severe physical or emotional abuse, then the court will grant it. But usually, you see, what happens is the time it takes to get the court's permission to say, yes, you can go ahead and apply for the divorce before the 2 year period. Sometimes it might take you a good year or more, or even 2 years to get a date to go before a judge to request that permission. So some people usually, once they know the marriage has broken down, they just, as unfortunate as it seems, they sit and wait for the period to pass. And again, I'm discussing divorces and the ending of matrimonial relationships in the context of our land issues. As I also said, you have to show, once you're applying for a divorce, you have to show that you have been separated from your spouse for at least 1 year. So you have to be married for 2 years, at least 2 years, must show separation of at least 1 year. The separation issue can be tricky. And let me just remind our listeners, if you want to call in on air, please call me on 876-922-41125. This number, 876-881-5254. This is the text line only. So again, to call in live on air, please call 876-922-41125. Now, how do you show that you have been separated from your spouse for a year when you are applying for a divorce? So it's easy to show that, yes, you have moved out of the house. We're now in January 2021. You can say, I moved out of the house from February 2019. That's more than a year. But in some cases, spouses still live together, share the same house, but are considered to be separated. And we know how life is. It may not be feasible for one party to move out. They may not be able to afford it. People may dig in their heels. They don't want to leave the matrimonial home. So yes, you can be separated, but still be living under the same roof. In fact, you can also be deemed to be separated, even if you still share a bed. So the separation aspect of when you're filing for a divorce, it's more of a mental element. Yes, once you can show physical separation, that you live in different places, no problem. But the fact that you still live in the same house or share a bed, that does not mean you are not separated. Once in your mind you consider that the marriage has broken down, you can show that you are separated. As I also said, Jamaica is what we call a no-fault jurisdiction when you're applying for a divorce. You don't have to say, my wife was at fault or my husband was at fault. The only ground that you have to show when you're filing for a divorce in Jamaica is that the marriage is irretrievably broken, meaning that things mash up and they're not going to ever get better. So you have to show that the marriage has been irretrievably broken. Also, you have to state a brief reason. You don't have to go into detail about what he did, what she did. All you have to simply state is that my wife was verbally abusive, or my wife committed infidelity, my husband was physically abusive. That's all you have to state when you're applying for a divorce. So sometimes sometimes people are hesitant to apply for a divorce because they are hurt or they're embarrassed. They don't want to go into too much detail. But you don't have to. You don't have to go in depth when you're coming up with your reasons for a divorce. So again, must be married for 2 years, must show that the marriage has broken down for at least a year. And the ground on which you file for a divorce is that the marriage has been irretrievably broken. An attorney will prepare the divorce document for you, and that is called a petition. This is the first document that you use when you are filing for a divorce. It's called a petition for dissolution of marriage. In short, we just refer to it as the petition. So in the petition, you have to state your particulars. So the person who files is referred to as the petitioner. The other party, your spouse, is referred to as the respondent. So you have to state your name, address, occupation. Same thing for your spouse, the particulars of your marriage, when you were married, where, the name of the marriage officer. You'll see all this information on your marriage certificate. Again, you have to state the reason for the breakdown of the marriage and how long you have been separated for. And you have to also state whether you and your spouse, before you're now filing for divorce, whether you sought to get counseling. Some attorneys like myself disagree with this rule, but it is a rule required by the court. If you want to get a divorce, I don't see why you have to state whether you got counseling or not, but you just have to state it. And often many people don't, and we just state the parties did not seek counseling because the marriage is irretrievably broken. It doesn't mean that because you didn't seek counseling that you won't be able to get a divorce, but you just have to state whether you got counseling or not. Divorces take a while in Jamaica, about 8 months to a year, and people are often surprised by that. And I'll say this is a short period because this is when you're doing an uncontested divorce, meaning nobody is challenging anything. So once it's a straightforward divorce, it takes about 8 months to a year. The divorce is a 2-part process. After the documents have been filed and served, we have what's called the decree nisi. That's a provisional divorce. After that has been granted, that usually takes about 4 to 6 months to be granted. And after that, we have the final part of the divorce, the decree absolute. Only when you get a decree absolute does that mean that you are now completely and officially divorced. So once you get the first part of the divorce, you're not divorced. You can't go ahead and remarry. You have to still wait for 6 weeks to pass before you file the second document, the decree absolute. This is Long Solutions.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
Join Jason Downer, Dawit Jeffrey, and Sekou Hunter every second and fourth Thursday at 8 p.m. live and exclusively on Power 106 FM for Magava's Raising Boys and the Journey to Manhood. Do you have a son? Are you the guardian for boys? Do you teach or work with boys? What are some of the challenges you face? Are you searching for answers? Are you concerned about the state of our nation boys and males in general? Raising boys, teaching boys, preparing boys. Magava Raising Boys and the Journey to Manhood. Join us.
Dear Pastor with Reverend Dr. Aaron Dumas on Power 106 FM is now 1 hour, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Thursday. 1 hour of solid advice, great interaction, and a belly full of laughs. That's Dear Pastor, now 1 power-packed hour, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Thursday here on Power 106 FM.
You're listening to Land Solutions during both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land, you've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4112, 876-922-4113, and 876-922-4114. The text line and the WhatsApp number for Land Solutions are one and the same. The number is 876-881-5254, 876-881-5254. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com, gloria@landsolutionsja.com. The website is landsolutionsja.com. The law firm Brown, Findlay and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew, with another office at Shop 6 upstairs, the JN Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. In light of the COVID-19 protocols, you're encouraged to call ahead instead of turning up. The numbers to call: 876-908-1950 or 876-908-3518, and you'll be advised accordingly. Once again, here's attorney at law Calicia Findlay. We have a question coming through on YouTube, Calicia. My question to Miss Findlay is, how do you get a copy of a land title that's missing?
You simply request it from the titles office. If you know the volume and folio numbers, you pay $500. If you don't, you do a search with the address and it costs you $1,000. And let me just hasten to say, getting a copy of the title from the titles office is not tantamount to replacing the lost title. If you need another quote-unquote original, you have to do a lost title application. And anyone can request any copy of any title. Titles are public documents. Over to our text line. What happens if you get back together with your wife after you were divorced? Can the divorce be overturned? No, unfortunately not. Once you have received the decree absolute, that is the final judgment. So that's it. You're officially divorced. If you have now reconciled with your spouse, you want to be married again, you have to do just that. You have to get married all over again. And this is one of the reasons why in Jamaica, divorces are a two-part process. So as I said before, the first part that's granted is called the decree nisi. After the decree nisi is granted, you have to wait 6 weeks before you can file the final set of documents. And I think perhaps the legislators had in mind that there should be a waiting period to see if any new evidence comes up or to see if any of the parties want to change their mind. But again, once the final divorce, which is called the decree absolute, once that has been issued, that's it. The marriage has ended. Let me just touch on something. When you are applying for a divorce, yes, you have to set out your particulars and your spouse's particulars, including their address, because the petition has to be served on your spouse. Often, when parties have separated, they have lost touch, there may be a lot of bitterness and anger and hurt. They don't know where to find their spouse. But the petition must be served on the spouse. If you don't know your spouse's address, let me just assume you know your spouse's address. It has to be personally served on your spouse. You, as the person applying for the divorce, you can't serve it personally. You can accompany someone and have that person serve your spouse. So if that person doesn't know them, you can go with them and point out your spouse to that person. If the person knows them, you can still go with them if you want to or not. But if it's a case where you have no idea where your spouse is, you have to file or make an application to the court for what we call substituted service to see if you can serve them maybe at another address, an address they had in the past, a family member's address, or if you can serve them by publishing an ad in one of the newspapers. But whatever you do, once you get in a divorce, it must be served on your spouse. If you can't find them, you have to show that you've made an application to court and it has been brought to their attention by substituted service. Continuing with our WhatsApp messages, why do divorces take so long? I've been waiting for over a year. Can I pay to speed it up? No, you can't pay to speed it up. There are no expedition services in court. If you are waiting for over a year, perhaps you need to check. I'm not sure if you have an attorney, but you need to check with your attorney just to see if there is what we call a requisition from the court. And a requisition is where the court, maybe there could be an error on your document, or the court may need some additional information. Or perhaps your spouse has filed something and is contesting it. So before you do anything, check with the court to see exactly what is the holdup. Because sometimes once you check with them, it could be just something simple. It could be a simple error, an additional document that is required. So check with them. But yeah, it's one of divorces are getting better in the Supreme Court. In the past, they would take 2-3 years, but now I find that we can get them back in about 8 months to a year. So best of luck to you, and I hope your divorce comes through quickly. Continuing with our WhatsApp messages. I can't afford a divorce. My husband can afford it. Well, I think he can, but he refuses to file because I think he wants to spite me. Any advice? You're going to either have to sit there and continue and remain married, or somebody has to make a move and file for the divorce, either you or your husband. If you can't afford it, you can try. There are several legal aid clinics across the country. They offer these services at reduced cost. Perhaps that is one route that you can try. Let me just say, though, for parties whose marriage, for all intents and purposes, have ended, they're separated, but they're not divorced, and they know they're not getting back together, you need to plan your estate. Because even though you are separated from your spouse, that person is still your husband. So God forbid, if you die before a divorce is granted, your spouse, and if you die, I should say, without making a will, even though you're separated, your spouse is the person entitled to apply for administration of your estate. So think about it. You have this spouse, you hate them, you'll never get back together with them, you haven't seen them for years, but for whatever reason, neither of you has taken the step to getting divorced. You're still legally married. And I'm sure many of you who are in a similar position would not want to know that this person can be the administrator of your estate, because when you die without a will, your husband, depending on the circumstances, can be entitled to up to a half of your estate. let's say you have a house, not your matrimonial home, something you bought on your own. You pass away. In your head, you were thinking, I would want this other person to benefit from the property. You didn't make a will. You didn't get a divorce. Now this spouse is entitled to a half of the property. So sometimes we have to look at the bigger picture. You may not be able to afford a divorce now, but it may hurt you in the long run to sit and not do anything about it. You can pay an attorney in installments, or you can make your will to ensure that if you die before a divorce is granted, your assets go to who you want them to go to. So please be very careful. And understand that you can't afford a divorce, but at least go in and seek legal advice to consider your options. Our numbers to call in, 876-922-4112-5, or text and WhatsApp line, 876-881-5254. Again, let me just remind you, I see a lot of calls coming in. Please call on air, 876-922-4112-5. To call us in office, the office numbers are 876-908-3518 and 876-908-1950. Someone wants to know if her husband can divorce her without her knowledge. That shouldn't be the case. As I was saying earlier, when you are applying for a divorce, the divorce petition must be served on your husband. It must be served on your spouse. There are cases where, as I said, you may not know the current address for your spouse, can't find them any at all, so the court may have to make an order that the divorce document is published in the newspaper, or it is served at a previous address associated with your spouse. If it's served at a previous address, or if it is served in the newspaper, it may very well not have come to the attention of your spouse. So in that case, technically, you could be divorced without it coming to your knowledge. But as long as that person can show that they made good faith efforts to locate you, they tried all addresses associated with you, they reached out to your family and friends, your workplace, your previous workplaces, they can show that they published it in newspapers. As long as they can show that, and they have a valid court order saying they made those efforts, then the divorce would be valid. If you think someone has divorced you without your knowledge, then you can do a search of the Supreme Court to see if that's the case. And that's something that should be considered too, because many times people only hear by the way that they have been divorced. And then when they go and do the searches at court, the divorce document will say that on X date and at X time, I served my wife, Mary Smith, or I served my husband, John Brown. And then you know that's not the case. If that is the case, then you have grounds to challenge divorce. But let me also say, when you're challenging a divorce, it really just drags out the inevitable. So eventually you'll end up being divorced, but now once you challenge it, it will now be redone on the proper terms to ensure that you are served. So if you think that someone has divorced you, you've never received any documents, do a search at the Supreme Court of Jamaica. Again, our numbers to call in office, and this is the law offices of Brown, Finley and Company, 876-908-3518, 876-908-1950. The number for our office in Ocho Rios, 876-974-6083. You may also send us an email, gloria@landsolutionsja.com, or visit our website at landsolutionsja.com. This is Land Solutions.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3 o'clock.
Listen to Drying Tears on Power 106 FM, Monday to Friday, 9:30 to 10 p.m. Drying Tears. Get ready to dry your tears. Brought to you by the Universal Church of the Kingdom of God. That's Drying Tears, Monday to Friday at 9:30 p.m. right here on Power 106 FM.
Listen to the story of the Jamaican diaspora on Diaspora Check-In every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. during both sides of the story with host Dervan Malcolm, the story of Jamaicans at home and abroad. That's Diaspora Check-In every Wednesday during both sides of the story, brought to you by GK Western Union. Receive money directly into your bank account today.
The program is called Land Solutions during both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. If you have questions, ideas, experiences, concerns with respect to the sale or purchase of land, here are the numbers to call to have those concerns dealt with. The numbers 876-922-4112, 876-922-4113, or 876-922-4114. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number for Land Solutions, 876-881-5254, 876-881-5254. There's a website, landsolutionsja.com. Email gloria@landsolutionsja.com. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/landsolutionsja. If you wish to get in touch with the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company, they're headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They also have an office at Shop 6 upstairs, the JN Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne, and they encourage all of us to call ahead instead of turning up in light of the COVID-19 protocols. Call and you'll be advised accordingly. Here are the numbers for the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company. 876-908-1950. 876-908-1950 or 876-908-3518. That's 876-908-3518. Once again, here's attorney at law Calicia Findlay.
Thank you, Dervan. So, often parties acquire property during the course of their marriage. When the marriage has ended by divorce, the question is, what happens to the property? How is the property, or how are the properties dealt with? How are they separated? As many of you may know, we have the Property Rights of Spouses Act that deals with matrimonial property, family property. Also, matrimonial rights with respect to property also come about under common law relationships, not only marriages. In Jamaica, we have significant numbers of common law unions. I remember, I think, several years ago, I think there was some data that said up to 70% of our children are born out of wedlock. So that will tell you that common law relationships form a significant number of our relationships, which is one of the reasons why the Property Rights of Spouses Act came into play, because it protects the rights not only of people who are married or who were married, but people who are or were in common law unions. Now, to qualify as a common law spouse, you have to show that you have been living together with your partner, meaning if you're a man, you're living with a woman, or vice versa. You have to show that you're living with them for at least 5 years and that both of you are single. Single meaning that you're not married to someone else. If you are, let us say you are a man, you are single, you're not married to someone else, but you are living with a woman, you've been living with her in a house together for 10 years, but she's married but separated from someone else, you cannot be considered common law spouses. Both of you must be unmarried, living together for at least 5 years. So when you are married, it's easy to show that you're married because you will have your marriage certificate. That's your evidence of marriage. But what evidence do you just say you want to make a challenge, you want to acquire rights on the property? What evidence can you show to say that this is my common law spouse? The only evidence that you can show is to get a declaration or an order from the court to say that this person is your common law spouse, you're in a common law union. And usually we find that people only take that step after the relationship has broken down and they now want to ensure that their interests, their rights in property are protected. So to prove that you are a common law spouse, you have to get a declaration from the court. Once a common law relationship has broken down, similarly, you can get a declaration from the court to say that you were in a common law relationship. And as you know, once a marriage has broken down, the proof of the breakdown of the marriage will be your divorce, your decree absolute. And again, the decree absolute is your final divorce document. Someone is saying that they have been separated from their husband for over 27 years, but they don't have any money to look about the divorce. What can they do? Similar to another question before, you either have to try and save the money, you can pay attorneys in installments, or you can seek the services of one of the several legal aid clinics across the country. But do something, please. Don't just sit there. And 27 years, I understand you don't have the money, but 27 years is a long time to be just sitting without sorting out things. So the Property Rights of Spouses Act deals with what we call matrimonial property or family property, family home. And this is the house that both spouses live in together while they are married. And under the Act, only one property can be considered your matrimonial property. So if you own 3 houses with your spouse, it's only one house at a time that you live in that can be considered your matrimonial home. And the law says that there is a presumption that each party is entitled to a 50% share of the matrimonial home. So even if it's just wife's name alone on the title, once it serves as the matrimonial home, the husband is entitled to a 50% share. Even if the wife is the only person who paid all the money for the house, once it serves as your matrimonial home, each party is entitled to a 50% share. Someone wants to know, and I'll get back to that shortly. If someone can't find their marriage certificate, can they still apply for a divorce? No. You need to have a certified copy of your marriage certificate. And when we say a certified copy, we mean the certificate that is issued from the RGD, the Registrar General's Department. So you can't have a photocopy and have it certified by a justice of the peace. It has to be the actual document issued from the RGD. So if you can't find it, you have to go back to the RGD to make an application for a certified copy. If you were married in another country, you will have to go back to whatever issuing body, whatever body that issued the marriage certificate, you'll have to go back to them and make an application for a marriage certificate. In some circumstances, let's say we're dealing with an estate and we're applying for probate, if we can show that that the party or the applicant can't find the death certificate, we can use what's called affidavits. We can get 3 affidavits from persons who attended the funeral, and that can take the place of a death certificate, but not so. Not so with a marriage certificate. When we're applying for divorces, we need the actual document to show that you were married. Again,
sorry, when you're through,
I'm
Calista, we
sorry,
have a
Dervan.
caller for you.
You go ahead, Dervan. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, how may I help?
Good afternoon, Miss Shanley.
Good afternoon.
Matrimonial status. If there's been a divorce and one of the parties became ill and level of incapacitated, that
Yes.
needed nursing home care.
Yes.
They didn't come back to the original home or remain at the home they were. And that person, the other party now becomes or takes on the role of caring for that person,
Yes.
making the arrangements, do whatever is needed to be
Yes.
so that the nursing home can provide the service. Any consideration in those circumstances?
I would do an agreement to say that this person is my caregiver. I don't know if the other person is willing. I'm saying I would get something in writing to set out the nature of the relationship. To say that this person is employed or is in the capacity as a caregiver. Because what has happened in the past, you see, I remember an instance like this where someone was taking care of someone. They were never married. But when the person died, all of a sudden this person came up with a claim to say that they were common law spouses. So just to avoid any doubt, always go to set things in writing.
Oh, writing from one of the facilities?
Yes. No. I'm sorry. From both parties to set out the nature of the relationship.
So like an agreement then?
Yes, exactly.
It's not a verification, say like from the doctor
No.
or from the nursing home
a
or
third
wherever.
party can't verify your relationship. It has to be from both of you.
Okay.
It might be tricky, I know.
The incapacity of the person makes him incapable of writing or making a proper signature. Does that make a difference?
No, it doesn't, because if you can even sign with an X.
Okay.
That's completely acceptable. Just make sure there are witnesses.
That's what had to be done for a number of other things like pension and other matters.
Yes.
So it needs a written document.
That is best.
That is best, but in the absence of the best, is there any consideration given?
If you can get, as you had suggested, if you can get something written from the third parties, let's say the care facility, but to avoid any doubt, get something in writing.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care. WhatsApp line. Someone wants to know if they can file for a divorce in Jamaica if they got married in the USA. Yes, you can. As long as you can show that you are a Jamaican national or you are now residing in Jamaica, you can file for your divorce in Jamaica. You don't have to file for the divorce in the country that you were married in. So, got married in the USA, but you now live in Jamaica or you are a Jamaican national, you can file for a divorce right here in Jamaica. Let me see if I can get in another quick message before the break. My husband doesn't want to add my name to our matrimonial host. He always has an excuse. I see this often. Now he's saying that he wants to add the children's names. What should I do? It's not the children's host. It's your host. You should ensure that your name is added. If your husband is absolutely refusing to do so, you may have to take it a step further and get an order from the court. I'll get back to that shortly. This is Land Solutions.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:15.
NII Bias pensioners, early encashment continues. Pension order vouchers with payable dates in January 2021 may be encashed as of Thursday, January 7. All payments for the month of January may be collected at once at your nearest post office. Please note that pension order vouchers can only be encashed at post offices. A message from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
Join Jason Downer, Dawit Jeffrey, and Sekou Hunter every second and fourth Thursday at 8 p.m. live and exclusively on Power 106 FM for Magava's Raising Boys and the Journey to Manhood. Do you have a son? Are you the guardian for boys? Do you teach or work with boys? What are some of the challenges you face? Are you searching for answers? Are you concerned about the state of our nation boys and males in general? Raising boys, teaching boys, preparing boys. Magava Raising Boys and the Journey to Manhood. Join us.
Dear Pastor with Reverend Dr. Aaron Dumas on Power 106 FM is now 1 hour, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Thursday. 1 hour of solid advice, great interaction, and a belly full of laughs. That's Dear Pastor, now 1 power-packed hour, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Thursday here on Power 106 FM.
It's the final segment of today's edition of Land Solutions with attorney at law Calicia Findley. Now is the time, just in case you wanted to get in your questions before the end of the program. Now would be a good time. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4112, 876-922-4113. 876-922-4114. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number for Land Solutions, 876-881-5254, 876-881-5254. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com, gloria@landsolutionsja.com. The website is landsolutionsja.com, landsolutionsja.com. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/landsolutionsja. The law firm Brown, Findley and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center in Halfway Tree, more specifically, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road. The other office is at Shop 6 upstairs, the JN building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. They encourage you to call ahead instead of turning up in light of the COVID-19 protocols. Here are the numbers to call the law firm Brown, Findley and Company: 876-908-1950 or 876-908-3518. We have another caller for you, Calicia.
Thank you, Dervan. Hello.
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 Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How may I help?
I would like to talk to you about living on this piece of land for so long.
Yes.
You know,
I think you have on your radio in the background or something. Turn it off for me, please. But go ahead still while you turn it off.
I'm living at this house for so long. I'm married to my husband, but my husband is dying now, right?
Yes.
And my father-in-law was there, but my father-in-law died and leave me at the house. Now my husband died and leave me at the house, same place. But the son now come and they take away the land title, the taxes paper and everything from me, and they seems like they don't want to give me any piece of the land. But I'm asking it, do I am entitled to a piece of the land?
It depends, you see, on whose name is on the title. If it's your husband's name alone on it, then you are entitled. But let us say if your
my husband's name is not on the land title.
You may not be entitled to it under the Property Rights Act, but we can still find another way for you to get an interest in the land. So I want you to call me in office tomorrow. You can hang up. I'm going to say the office numbers again shortly. Call me in office tomorrow. Let us discuss it further. All right?
You're gonna get the office number?
Yes, so you can hang up and just keep listening out for the office numbers. All right, the office number is 876-908-1950 and 876-908-3518. So let me just touch on what this lady raised. Under the Property Rights of Spouses Act, it says each spouse is entitled to a 50-50 share in land, in property, once it's a matrimonial home. So if it's just one spouse's name on the title, each party is still entitled to a 50-50 share. However, if it's the spouse's name on the title, along with someone else's, let's say the spouse's mother, father, sister, or if the title is in a third party's name altogether, let us say it's in the spouse's mother's name, then it cannot qualify as the matrimonial home. And once it cannot qualify as a matrimonial home, you cannot get a 50% share. If you have been on the property for a long time, we would have to make another type of application, perhaps for an equitable interest, to say I have contributed $2 million over the 20 years and I'm entitled to that share. But for property to be considered your matrimonial home, to enable you to get a 50% share, it either has to be in both names, both spouses' names, or just one spouse's name. So for many people, you get married and you move on to the family land, the family yard, you have 5, 6, 7 houses in the yard, you build your own house, you live there with your husband for how many years, or your wife, your spouse now dies, it's their family property, it's in their titles, in their name. Even though that is the house you lived in with that person all the time you were married, the law does not recognize it as your matrimonial home. So you have to be prudent. Don't go and build, don't invest in any property in which you do not have any interest. It's better you leave and go somewhere and rent, because you don't want to invest millions of dollars in property, and at the end of the day, it's going to be near impossible for your interest to be realized. Let me just, if I can just go back to that previous text message. Someone said that their husband doesn't want to add her name to the matrimonial home. She said he always has an excuse. Now he's saying that he's going to add the children's names to the title. This is quite a common occurrence where someone doesn't want to add a spouse's name to the title, and they feel that to appease them, they'll tell them, "All right, I'll add the children's names." It's not the children's house; it is your house. If your spouse is absolutely refusing to add your name, you're going to need to get an order from the court. And let me just remind you, once you are adding a spouse's name to a title, you don't pay any transfer tax. Ordinarily, transfer tax is 2%, and that's 2% of the value of the property. But once you're adding a spouse's name, and by spouse I mean person you are married to or the person you are in a common law relationship with, once you're adding that name, you do not pay any transfer tax. Over to our WhatsApp line. I got married to my husband in the US about 20 years ago. He lived in Jamaica, never lived in the US. Can I divorce in Jamaica or best divorce him from here? I'm also about to start building a house in Jamaica. How do I ensure he gets no hands on my house? You can divorce him. You can divorce him from any jurisdiction. Since you now live in the US, you can divorce him there. Since you got married in Jamaica and since he lives in Jamaica, you can choose whichever country to initiate the divorce proceedings in. I would say go with whichever jurisdiction that can get it done quicker. In terms of ensuring your husband doesn't get any rights to your property, do a will. hurry up and file for the divorce and go ahead and acquire the property. A lot of people feel, you see, that because they're not divorced, that they cannot acquire property. You absolutely can. Remember, your matrimonial home is the house you live in. Once you can show that this is your separate asset, your spouse cannot claim anything under it. But to avoid any doubt, initiate divorce proceedings, ensure you do a will. Like I said, go ahead and acquire that asset. Don't put your life on hold. Divorce is already traumatic and it's emotional. Don't let that stop you from achieving other things. My ex-wife's name is still on our title. She hasn't been to Jamaica in over 25 years. I don't know how to get in touch with her. Can I take her name off the title? You can make an application. You can make what we call an adverse possession application. So you can say you have been the only person living in the house for 25 years. You don't know the whereabouts of this person. You can show where you have tried to contact her. You can show where you have sent letters. You put notices in the paper. If you can come up with any other evidence to show that you have indeed been the only person on the property all this time, then yes, you can make an application to have the title be solely in your name. And it's similar to when we're doing a regular adverse possession application. So you still have to get the property surveyed, get your witnesses who can speak to the history of the land, in particular to say that you have been the only person occupying it for all this time. Someone says, what if a person does not want the marriage to end, but the other person has gone ahead and filed divorce papers? Can you stop the process? No, you cannot. You can only stop or challenge or object to divorce proceedings if something stated in the petition is inaccurate or an outright lie. And even then, if you challenge it, the court will just make an order to say, all right, let's hear what the parties are saying. John says A, but it's really B. All right, let's correct the paperwork. Let's file again and let the process continue. But if you are not, let's say, emotionally ready to be divorced, but the other party is, they've satisfied all the requirements, you've lived separate and apart for a year, can show that you've been married for 2 years, then I'm sorry, there's nothing you can do to stop a divorce. As harsh as it may seem, one person doesn't have to be emotionally ready. As long as you can satisfy the grounds set out by law, then the other person can proceed to file for divorce proceedings. Something just came to mind. Often I see people who come to say they don't really want a divorce, but their husband or their wife, they're not acting right, so they want to go ahead and file papers and serve them to frighten them, or to see if that will get them to change their ways, or to see if that will get them to, go ahead and add their name to the title or something. Divorce is not something to be played with. It's not going to, serving your partner with papers isn't going to change anything. Please approach any legal issue carefully. Don't do anything out of spite or because you want something. In relation to your property, to avoid any issues, make sure you have clear discussions with your spouse. Always remember the option of doing a prenuptial or a postnuptial agreement. That will set out your rights. It will state exactly what you want to happen to your property in the event your marriage or your common law relationship breaks down. So please ensure you seek legal advice. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Land Solutions. Keep your questions coming. I'll respond as soon as possible. Again, I've been your host for today, Khalesia Findlay. Thank you and take care.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:30.
Listen to Drying Tears on Power 106 FM, Monday to Friday, 9:30 to 10 p.m. Drying Tears. Get ready to dry your tears. Brought to you by the Universal Church of the Kingdom of God. That's Drying Tears, Monday to Friday at 9:30 p.m. right here on Power 106 FM.
The road ahead is empty.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, on the heels of today's edition of Land Solutions with attorney at law Calicia Findlay. Good afternoon to those of you who have joined us, like Inez Campbell-Brown in Bridgeport, Connecticut, Nicola in Mandeville, Manchester, Beverline in Toronto, Canada, saying good afternoon, Sir D. With lack of information to most Canadians who could not board flight back to Canada, based on news now available, Canadians can return, but doing COVID test in Canada. Thanks for the update, Beverline in Toronto, Canada. Diana Watkis Forrester, happy Monday to you too. David Allen says, Dervan, you need to understand that several Jamaicans are very mentally sick. They will kill you fast due to disagreements. Jamaicans need a firm leader who has the talent to put the citizens back in their place and teach them how to behave civilized. Would love to have you explain how you would achieve that, David Allen. Thank you very much for your message. Desireen Brown says, hi, I hope 2021 is going well so far. We have no complaints here, Desireen, and that is not to say we don't have problems like everybody else. The fact of the matter is we're still breathing, which means anything is possible. And we give thanks for that. Sylviana Johnson, good afternoon to you too. Sophia Nemard, good afternoon and welcome. Canute Sean Bernard has joined us. Welcome. Let's take a look at some of the messages on YouTube, the Dervan Malcolm YouTube channel. Tevin Johnson says, good afternoon, Dervan and everyone. Donovan Crooks, blessings, Sir Dervan. Always listen by calling a U.S. number. Welcome to YouTube Live, long overdue. Thank you, Donovan. He says, and we did share his question earlier on with Calicia Findlay. Rose McIntosh says, an uplifting program coming from London. And Donovan is greeting Rose. Kathleen Edwards says, good afternoon, Sir Dervan. I listen to you daily. Your station is a learning station and an eye-opener to live in this world. Thanks so much, Yvette. Thank you, Yvette, otherwise known as Kathleen. Thank you very much for your message on our YouTube channel. Let's check some of the other channels of communication. How about WhatsApp? Let's see what's up on WhatsApp. Hello to Jennifer from Q Road in Kencott. Thanks for tuning in. Franklin McDonald, formerly of the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA. These days, he's based in Canada. He says, greetings. You mentioned John McDonald's birthday, but you could also have mentioned his second wife, who is a Jamaican. Oh, thou of little faith, Franklin McDonald. We have that all lined up. But we were just going through the observance of John McDonald's birthday being of significance in Canada. We weren't ready to tell the full story yet. We were just opening the program. Thank you for your message nonetheless, Mr. McDonald. Michael Paul Brown, good afternoon to you. Clarky Bless in Huntstown, St. Mary says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Happy Monday to you and your listeners, Mr. Malcolm. My heart bleeds for that little girl over there in Trelawney who was shot and killed. I can just imagine what her family members are going through at this time, especially her mother. Condolences to the family. I also wish for her dad a speedy recovery. Clarky Bless in Huntstown, St. Mary. We join you in conveying those sentiments. Clarky Bless in Huntstown, St. Mary. Thank you very much. Someone on WhatsApp is telling us hi, but we don't know who it is. Hi to you too. Ricardo in Glengoff, St. Catherine is greeting everybody as usual. Good afternoon, Ricardo. Thank you very much for tuning in. There's a voice call coming through. Hello, good afternoon. Would you like to be on the radio? Hello. Good afternoon. Would you like to talk on the radio? All right, hold on, please. Let's make sure you're on mic. Yes, thank you. Thank you for calling. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, please.
Our strength renew, our hope restore. Africa, we are coming home. Coming home.
Sounds like you're heading back on the Nigerian flight.
Who tell you? Never more to roam. Open wide, thine arms of love. Africa, we are coming home. Dervan.
Sounds like you booked your ticket already?
Not as yet. What information you have for the purpose of such a direct flight from Nigeria to Jamaica? Give us some information with the public or your radio audience.
Well,
about this mission.
I listened to you and Emily Shields the other day, and I realized that you got more than enough information.
Yeah, but you educate our brothers and sisters who know here, but you never know you're a star. That's why you're so bright. You listen to everything, man.
I have to monitor.
Yeah. So we give thanks still for such a connection, an African connection, you know?
Yes.
Overdue long time, you know? So we give thanks for such a connection, and we as black people must build our faith to return home to Africa. Everything good that we do in Jamaica here, we can go home and do it in Africa, you know? Continent of our own, you know? So many come and then beat out Africa out of many. Until you say Africa no want to and where we go Africa go do. And the whole world of black sons and daughters. Africa.
Have you decided where on the continent of Africa you will be looking to settle?
And a settle, you know. I to return home to our birth home.
Yes. Have you decided specifically where on the continent of Africa you are returning home to?
Anywhere, everywhere, I will follow on, follow. I will follow Negos, walking with our Savior till our rest be one. So come on, black people, I hear the Prime Minister Andrew Holness, a night up on TV, I said Jamaica, America backyard. So come make we left out America backyard. Because when you in a man backyard up here, dumping chop and you know, dump anything around there. Because we turn home to our farmer, glory, you know, the first nation upon earth, the father and mother of mankind, the first civilization, you know. We are the first God and Goddess upon earth. Make we return home to our farmer, glory, and make no one frighten us away from Africa. The man said not Jordan stream, nor death, cold flood. We must make frightened from that heavenly shores, you know. So we're calling upon the United Nations here in Jamaica, you know, to I right to return home to I own vine and fig tree, Africa, our free states of Africa, to this Jamaica government, you know, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, you know, to set us free. Come out of America backyard, you know. Because remember America, England one, they don't mean us no good. That them shuttle away. them burn with them beat with them lynch with. All man are evil them done unto us.
Who's
So we are run go.
who's doing the burning and the lynching these days?
The same people them who are do it, them no can't it, they no stop. And all them colleagues of them get to them, some black, white, tally, who are tail back at them, roast breadfruit with a call them in our tradition.
Well, what do you say
know,
about those? What do you say about our homegrown terrorists?
Homegrown terrorists?
Yes.
We say the black man have no crime. Oppression make a white
Say that again. The black man has no crime.
No, oppression make a wise people mad, you know.
Oh.
Slavery, many years of
so slavery is the reason why we've been running at about 1,200 murders a year. Slavery is the result of that. Because of that.
Because them set us against ourselves.
And slavery is why we are killing our children, our women, our elderly, our animals, all due to slavery.
Because they not you, sorry. Because they take off of the white men ways, adoption ways.
So how are we going to break out of that? How are we going to break our people out of the white man's ways?
Return unto our black self, black philosophies of life, as Marcus Garvey said, turn to ourselves. See God to our
And
own
what is that
spectacle.
self? Give us some more on that self. Returning to that self. What are we returning to?
Righteousness. Our created a holy people, a righteousness. The right of ourselves, Do good, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Set the Most High, Selassie.
Well, how do you explain the fact that how do you explain the fact that a significant number of us are not doing those things? We're not killing each other. We're not engaging in the killing of our children, our women, our elderly, our animals, etc., and our men. Why so many of us are not like that? What is the difference? What makes the difference?
A stubborn and rebellious generation who turn away from the Almighty, from them black self, and following the white men lifestyle of living.
No, but I'm asking you the question. How do you explain those of us who, having been oppressed by the white men, that we haven't turned out to be the ones who are oppressing our own people and being homegrown terrorists? Those of us who are decent, law-abiding citizens.
The man said, man of right is God in flesh, and man of wrong is Satan. Woman of right, God is in flesh, and woman of wrong is Satanist, Right is standard, and wrong is of the devil. Set the Most High. Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari. So let us turn unto right, because the man said righteousness is mightier than sin. Righteousness is mightier than sin.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the call.
So we're moving on to a greater progress, which is repatriation, our black sons and daughters to return home. So we give thanks to the first step.
Well, we're grateful for a new year, but we hope this time next year, if we're still alive, that we're not at the same point. We hope by then you would have at least been packed and ready to go to Nigeria or somewhere else on the continent.
We, not me alone, because I'm on the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress Church of Salvation, fly the green and white flag, Nigeria flag from 1958 with the black 5-point star representing us as a people. See it on the R symbol. Stand for repatriation, all black sons and daughters to return home.
Right.
Not me alone.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the call. Some more calls are coming in. Thanks for the call. Take care. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Oh, that person got tired of holding. Someone else was on the text line. Let's try again. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling Both Sides of the Story here on Power 106. Lost that caller again. The numbers to call 876-922-4112, 876-922-4113, 876-922-4114, and 876-922-4115. The text line 876-365-3346. Ricardo in Glengoff, St. Catherine, is being kind in his comments. Thank you very much, Ricardo. More in a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45. Hose Assembly and Supply HAS is the best at what they do. They supply hoses, fittings, and tools. They guarantee they are unbeatable in price and quality combined. Branded by you as the hose and tool boss with the most effective industrial solutions. Come, experience the joy of shopping with the Hose Boss. Call 876-923-3936 or visit them at 173 Hagley Park Road, 2 Charlesworth Crescent, or Montego Bay Trade Center. HAS would like to thank their customers for over 30 years.
Both sides of the story.
Tune in this and every Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. for Kids Connect during Both Sides of the Story with host Dervan Malcolm to hear from children in a discussion series on building a strong relationship with your child. We invite children to call in and voice their concerns. Kids Connect is brought to you by the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA. Every child deserves protection. And Rise Life Management Services, 57 East Street, Kingston. That's Kids Connect during Both Sides of the Story at 3:30 p.m. this and every Tuesday right here on Power 106 FM.
Both sides of the story.
Farmers, come for a candid conversation with the Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Floyd Green. Learn more about the agricultural sector and the role we all play in its development. That's a Morning with the Minister, every second and fourth Friday of every month during Farm Talk with Althea McKenzie, right here on Power 106 FM.
Horizon in the distance, so close and yet so far away. You shouldn't be surprised when on arrival the dream has flown away and fear's not here to stay.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Miss Mervis. Welcome back from vacation.
Welcome back from vacation. Well, really vacation for you. Let me wish you and the whole staff of Power 106 all the best for the new year. You know that is the way my thing work around here. Sometimes I skip off of some station for a long some program for a long time. And then skip on back. You understand?
Which is fine by us. You're free.
Jesse Blake. Can't forget him. And all the other Power 106 crew. From long days down the road coming up. And all the listeners. Well, I might be taking holiday off some programs though. And getting back onto some of me take holiday from. You know? Well, I am thankful for the new year. And I'm grateful that you're still there educating. You know? But one thing I cannot understand with my Rasta friend, you see? Why them not have some ships going down to Africa doing some, what they call it, thing there, trading? Eh? That may I listen for them do for over the years, you know. Set up some trading with them African nation. I would like how they love quote my Christian Bible and sing my Christian song them. You know? Yes, them get played for go back now. So my hope is that we will begin to think like the Jamaicans we are supposed to be. I heard your comment at the beginning, and it's very heartrending to all of us. We don't know what is happening. Our children just drowning, some dying. In all my life, me 74 years, going 75. I have never seen children dying like this. And it really pains the heart to see what is happening to them. But I hope as adults we'll be able to work together to set up a better environment for them to grow up in. It's really difficult. So as for me, I am here talking to the king as usual and trying to find out what my contribution can be. You know, what kind of strategy he will give me. Well, I did quite a lot out here already. Quite a lot has been done over the years. But I still consulting him to see what next can be done, or I can go forward, especially in the education system that I worked in. And I heard an advertisement about what to do about the boys, the young men. I know I have some program here that can help. Don't know if they will accept it. But there's a whole lot of problem going with the young men from way down the road. They're always behind at school. I notice it. When I came into the profession, came from college, I remember teaching a group of students in grade 4. I requested under-average students, and that class was filled with boys. And when I left school, I taught the last class was a grade 3 class with underperforming students, and again that class was filled with boys. So I got in 69, same thing, came out 1994, same thing. I ran a reading program out here for about 10 years, and most of the students that came into that reading program were male again. So I realized that we need to put some extra effort into the matter of our young men. And some of those things that was being said on Land Solution, you know, I feel the education system need to reorganize itself. Those things should be taught in school, you know. All them things about divorce and when you get to grade 10, 11 up there, so a lot of those things should have been taught before they got into them, you know. So I am hoping that the education system can be restructured from way down there, because we said they are adults when they are 18, and we put them at 18 to vote, but we didn't do anything to set them up to be adults. No. We didn't set them up to be ready for adulthood and to manage themselves. Nothing went into the system for that. And I am hoping that when they will restructure the system and make sure all of those things are taught, and not just home economics for girls or what. But everybody need to learn home management. Yes, home management need to be taught, boys, girls, and all that kind of stuff. We need to restructure the system if we are going to get what we really want out of it. So my blessing upon everybody, and hope those who have that spirit of killing. I guess I'm going to have to go out there and teach about there's a kingdom of evil out there that we do not pay much attention to, that influence evil doings. And not much people are aware of it. You hear some voices talk to you sometime and they say their mind. No, mind not tell you that. Your mind don't tell you things that are either a negative kingdom or a positive kingdom. Your mind don't tell you things. You have to be careful who you're listening to, what you're listening to, what kind of decision you make. Because there's an evil force out there, Dervan. You hearing me?
Loud and clear, Miss Mervis.
I have been out here doing a lot of work with people on the phone, on the road, all over the place. And I discovered that people don't understand that these voices are real demonic voices influencing people to do these things. When they get conscious that there are these two kingdoms, they need to understand which one you're going to listen to. You can't continue setting your mind and allowing your mind to be set up and used in that kind of way. No, you weren't made for that. The Bible says you're created after the image and likeness of the high God. You need to find back the likeness. The image might be still there, but no human being normal can behave them kind of way, the Dervan. Something is radically wrong with you. When some of us can't even kill a fowl. Huh? So I hope the beautiful Jamaica, I stand up looking outside and I'm living there. Here where you have a lot of birds and trees and the blue skies, and I love nature. I see the beauty of God's creation all around me. And my God Almighty, I wish we human beings would just begin to admire it and make it a beautiful place, a comfortable place, I should say, for all around us. May the Lord bless Jamaica land that I love. I don't know if anybody else love it, but me not singing the way me I sing Jamaica land. I love. Bless up.
Bless up to you too, Miss Mervis. All the best. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good day to you, sir.
Good day, Raskawa.
Yeah, man, give thanks. Give thanks to you, Miss Mervis. But her question or wish is that Rasta should be trading with Africa. But she are forgetting that the system has not made it easy for Rasta to really survive as the Christians does. The hill is steeper for Rasta to climb. So they will not make it easy for Rasta to produce. Rasta will be telling them, say, I don't vote for you as a JLP, I'm going to vote for you as a PNP. So we will not be among their selected friends that they will easily help. And you see, going forward, the Virgin was talking about going home. Rasta not deal with no migration, Rasta is not an immigrant. We are thinking about repatriation, which it is a government to government doing. Whichever one of the country you want to go, you don't have a visa to go to Africa. You have to have a visa to go to Ethiopia, Ghana, Chile, Nigeria, South Africa, wherever. You have to have a visa for that country. So then when you go there again and you go to other one, you have to get a transit visa again to go one of those places. So you have to have a destination where you go before you left Jamaica. And when he's talking about going home like that and anywhere is anywhere, it doesn't work like that, But until Africa become a USA, it will be divided and at war. Ethiopia, Eritrea, at war, killing babies, everybody here by with bombs. We need a united state of Africa. That all this country become a state in one state, united, and all of them have a one way forward. Africa was like that, until the white man then go down there with religion and divide them. Nigeria have one of the biggest white statue of Jesus in the whole world, weighing over 40 tons in a black dominated country. So they go down there and Christianize them, give them the Bible, and take over the land. So we need to get Africa united. Anyway, that's just that for that.
Yeah, there was something I saw recently. I haven't been able to retrieve it, but they just recently, the African nations signed on to a pact, some regional pact. I was trying to retrieve it to share it with you just now. But anyway, go on. I'll see if I can find it by the time you're finished.
Well, the elders of Africa gathered together in a union and agreed with Ethiopia to bomb Eritrea.
No, that's not the story I'm talking.
All right. Miss Mervis, give me a message on Facebook to ask you a question, which I was asking, that if Adam and Eve only had 2 sons, how do we end up with this multiracial nation?
I don't know.
Miss Mervis, I want to hear some Dervan and what I say, And
Miss Mervis has a direct line to the father, so.
Yes, Miss Mervis. And
so she tells us from time to time. Mm-hmm.
It is not Miss Mervis. It was Olive. Miss Olive.
Mm-hmm.
Who gave me the message. And the other one was And who and how was the African worshipping before the Bible?
I don't know.
You know, say first me hear you talk, so you don't know.
No, man.
Tell me again when you say that.
All the time when I don't know. One moment, please.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock.
¿Qué hora es en espagnol? Son las 4. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4 heures. 现在几点了？4 DN, 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now is a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with more on your program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Yes, Rascavo.
Yeah,
fill in the blanks now.
Well, the Africans used to worship not the white Jesus that they gave us through religion, but they used to worship like the sun, S-U-N, as the Son of God. And their prayers used to be answered. They were no religious person. They were more based what they're doing on a more spirituality than religious. And they used to write on the skins of animals and the walls of the cave and on tablets, all the history and their ways of worshipping. And all of that was taken away, touched away, destroyed, and forced onto us the edited version of the Bible. That's why it is called a version, coming from the colorful King James. So that's why religion and politics was enforced on the people as a wedge to divide us and make we want to kill one another. It's all bad biblical days. As come to the Bible, the writers of the Bible, you know. God sent David down into Israel to do a census to number the amount of people down there. Wouldn't God know how much down there already? However, David make an error, and God killed 70,000 men from Israel just because of David's error. Because God gave him a choice, you know, whether to follow the enemy, go in front of the enemy with them pursuing him, or having pestilence taking over the land to kill off the people. Or the other one was for God to do what he wants, and David said prefer to fall in the hands of God than to be pursued by the enemy. And God killed 70,000 people where they didn't even know nothing about God and David problem where they have. That's what they wrote in the Bible, that they contradict the forgiving God, loving, merciful Father, who tell us that you must forgive 70 times 7. And they never forgive David, or the people them when go kill. It works same way with Job. God already knows Job's fate, or did he? However, Satan challenged him about how much faithful Job was. And in give Satan the power and say, go do anything you want, do away from taking his life. Satan used that to the benefit of his one when one do. He makes sure broke out on Job, and Job cursed the day that he was born. He cursed his mother's womb. That doesn't tell me that Job have the amount of faith in God that he had. They say he have. He go down at the field and kill off Job's servant picking them, then cackle everybody. Just to prove that Job have faith, which them never have nothing to do with God and Satan neither, because them down there mind their business. So them write some things about God in the Bible, and when you question it now, people will move from beside you because they flash lightning and kill you. But if God are your father, why can't you question the things that people wrote about him? that no means accountability and it's. But if it is not clear about what they wrote and about God, which is your Father, also, don't you have the right to question it?
Well, you've demonstrated just now that you enjoy a level of freedom and independence of thought to question all that you've questioned thus far, and you're still with us. No brimstone and fire just yet.
Just yet, yeah, I expected it. Alright, so it's good that, as I said, laughter is the best medicine. So it's good when we end that and I'll note that is healing us.
Yes, as you go, it's the African Union Commission. The agreement was signed on the 21st of March 2018, ratified by 22 states, and it last week gave effect to the African Continental Free Trade Area, where members of the free trade area will remove tariffs from 90% of goods, allowing free access to commodities, goods, and services across the continent of Africa.
I hope that this direct flight from Nigeria to Jamaica will manifest that and fulfill it to the maximum. Give thanks for that again.
Sure. Thanks for the call. All the best, Raskava. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Hello, are you there? Hello. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Blessed, my Lord.
Good afternoon.
Give thanks for taking my call. A logical question to Miss Mervyn.
Miss Mervis.
Miss Mervis, yes. The geographical location of all those states that in the Bible. Well, I want to ask if you know on what continent is the geographical location of all those places that she so revered. And the next thing, out of all the people looking on earth and out there, and everybody, Mr. Malcolm, who the people more look like now? The people of the Bible? Who you think they would look like more now? Like the Ballad or the Rastaman? Who they would look like visibly?
Which people?
The people of the Bible that Miss Mervis so revere. Oh. Remember that the scissors and the comb was not yet invented. So all the people that she so adored, who they more look like?
Rastafari, perhaps?
Just logical, you know. And then, Mervyn, I hear Mervyn, Dervan, something about engage and your 2 years old proficient in English language. When Christ and Peter was talking, right? And he had made that famous statement where the Catholic base them thing after. When Christ said, and this and this is the foundation of what him all of that when go speak about trying to put to the world. But the Catholic them now have it now, Peter, how can this refer to a person, Dervan, this and this?
I'm sorry, I would have to see the exact quotation.
I want somebody call you and make you see the exact, because me admire your proficiency in English. And if Christ ever say, and this, the way Emily are in foundation, is this that him just say, this couldn't refer to a person, that's a noun, this is not a noun.
Yes.
Yeah. So all them say, and that no, a Peter he was referring to, and he say, and this. This is not a noun, is that this that he just spoke. You know, and then Mr. Morris again says salvation, it come from it's coming from Africa, the old time salvation. No white men know nothing more salvation. Black people. And I want to tell you, no matter what denomination you are, nobody on the planet can praise God like black people. You understand? No one can curse God like black people either, but nobody can praise God. Yeah, it's too bad.
No, you're right. You're onto something there. Yeah, we give it everything we've got.
Exactly, 110.
Yes.
So, As the president was trying to explain again to Durban, the adoption ways, we were born, we are the living temple of the living God. One time, two brothers, they asked me, then how come we the white men are so wicked, and when they come in Africa, we love them? Because we say, well, all we knew, we never knew nothing about red eye and bad mind and grudgeful Durban. We didn't know nothing about them someday. All we knew was love. That's all we knew. Anything we used to black people, all we know. That's why the president was trying to say, we innocent because all of them think that is things that we adapted because them the one, them innocent, not teach the black man how to use no gun. Because if him learn how to use that, it going to be problem. All them things in the ear and learn, this damn Durban, they heard. And make Miss Mervis know say, salvation, the black salvation come out of Africa, Jerusalem, all these places, the geographical location of all those places is on the continent of Africa. My God, Lord.
Thank you. Take care. Yes, I would need the exact quotation to properly look at it.
Yeah, because I understand what I say. And this is not a noun referring to Peter. Oh, them get that meaning what?
I'll see if I can get put my finger on it.
My Lord, get that.
Thank you. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Hello, good afternoon. Oh, let's clear these messages first. One moment. Let's see. H. Morgan in Birmingham says, Mr. Malcolm, good afternoon. My condolences to the little girl who was shot alongside her dad. These people have no respect for life. Now to that man who was talking about going to Africa, you asked him the right question about his booking of his ticket. Obviously, he does not know anything about Africa. How is the Prime Minister withholding his freedom to leave? These people are so ignorant. They need to do their research. Who brought him from Africa to Jamaica? Why don't he go back to the person who brought him to Jamaica and demand that person to take him back? It's time people get reading and stop being so ignorant, listening to nonsense argument. As they say, white men in the US killing black men, but who is killing black men in Jamaica? That young child shot dead thugs. Was it shot dead by thugs? Was it a white man who killed her? That's such an ignorant comment. H. Morgan in Birmingham. Thanks for your message, H. Morgan in Birmingham. We don't always have to agree, or we don't, in fact, have to agree at all with our fellow commentators and contributors. But let's at least be able to agree to disagree. Let's put our arguments forward, and let's stick to the subject. But we get the point you're making, H. Morgan in Birmingham. Thank you. Miss Pearl says, thank the Lord I'm having a good laugh. Sir D, bless up. Patience is really virtue. Please tell that man to emancipate himself from mental slavery, and none but ourselves can free our minds. Real talk, sir. I too love Jamaica. Eternal Father, bless our land, our people. Thank you very much for that message, Miss Pearl, on WhatsApp. Errol in Spanish Town says, hi, Dervan, good day. Has that man heard about the atrocities taking place over there in Ethiopia by the Ethiopian army? Dervan, probably Raskava knows everything. LOL. Thank you very much, Errol in Spanish Town, for, I think you're referring that situation with between Ethiopia and Eritrea. I think that's what you're referring to. Thank you very much for your message. Let's. Can we take another message? Quick one to take us to the break. Let's go to Horace Johnson. Good afternoon to you, Horace Johnson. All the very best. Thanks for keeping in touch. And there are other messages which we'll get to in just a moment.
there's not here to stay.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15.
Join Jason Downer, David Jeffrey, and Sekou Hunter every second and fourth Thursday at 8 p.m. live and exclusively on Power 106 FM for Magava's Raising Boys and the Journey to Manhood. Do you have a son? Are you the guardian for boys? Do you teach or work with boys? What are some of the challenges you face? Are you searching for answers? Are you concerned about the state of our nation boys and males in general? Raising boys, teaching boys, preparing boys. Magava Raising Boys and the Journey to Manhood. Join us.
Dear Pastor with Reverend Dr. Aaron Dumas on Power 106 FM is now 1 hour, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Thursday. 1 hour of solid advice, great interaction, and a belly full of laughs. That's Dear Pastor, now 1 power-packed hour, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Thursday here on Power 106 FM.
Never answers any questions, and nothing is sure, not even tomorrow. With miles of the unknown ahead of you.
Y ahora es en español, son las 4:16 que la retire en français. Il est 4:16. 现在几点了？4点16分. Well, the time just changed. We just told you in Spanish and French and Chinese 16 minutes past 4, but the time has changed. It's now 17 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you done your homework yet? If not, now is a good time. Good afternoon to all the schoolers listening to us, all the students from the early childhood level to the secondary level. Trust you had a productive day at school. Well, let me do that again. A productive day of learning today. Hope you also managed to get in some physical activity, just as important as mental activity. As we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable, education makes you trainable, training makes you employable, and the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. Let's go to the text line, which doubles as the WhatsApp line for our next call. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon, as you said, to your schoolers. One of the things I think I want to talk about schooling is that it's not about getting people employed. First, you have to learn. And then what you have to learn, to me, is that you have to learn to think critically, which is not something that is easily taught. It's something that is applied, and people observe how you do it and learn from that. It's not something you can, demonstrate in a classroom setting as far as putting it on a blackboard. It's something that we do and others follow. All right? However, that was not what I mainly called about. I mainly called about to advise people to do all the things that we are instructed to do, like washing our hands, keeping on our masks, keeping our distance. But in addition to that, please look to your diet. Make sure you drink sufficient water. And how you do this is you take your weight, you weigh yourself, divide it in half, whatever you get. That's the number of ounces of water you personally need in 24 hours for the day. Then you divide that by 8, which is a cup. So you know how many cups of water you need to drink in a 24-hour period, not a 12 or 8-hour period as we are awake, but in that full 24-hour period. That will sufficiently give your body enough fluids so that, you won't get sluggish. And our bodies do get sluggish with the blood not being able to go through. The next thing we could do is to make sure that the foods we eat, or the majority of foods we eat, end up as alkaline ash rather than acid ash. I'll give you an example. In Jamaica, we can drink coconut water, very alkaline. It is one of those fluids that have the same osmotic pressure as the blood, or it's our blood. I think it's 4.9, if I remember correctly. That's many years back now that I should have known that. And it means that it can go right into your bloodstream. They have used coconut water for IV infusions already in the war and stuff like that. Other foods that are very alkaline are things like cucumbers. I'm messing up my brain at the moment, but there are things that are water-based, right? Fruits, a lot of fruits are water-based. They do have sugars, but the sugar may not be the kind that is abrasive to our bodies because they are natural sugars. They're fructose as opposed to glucose, which is sort of an unnatural or produced sugar. In addition to that, make sure you try and eliminate as many milk products as possible, because milk is always going to be acid. I think the one that is not too acid, cheese is acid, but if you do butter, it's not. It doesn't come out as acid as the other milk products. And there is no vegetarian cheese that is a little bit more helpful for the body. But all the other foods, the foods in Jamaica are very, very alkaline in a lot of ways. If you eat, sweet potatoes. If you have diabetes, it will help to mitigate and level out your sugar so you won't have spikes. There are a number of others. I think pumpkin is another one. But try, and those of us who have the instruments that I'm using right now, the phones and tablets and all that, just go on Google. You'll find general information about the foods that are alkaline. They'll give you a list of maybe 10 or 18 that you can incorporate in your diet. You can still eat the other foods, but make sure you overwhelmingly eat these others and eat them raw. Another thing is many of our foods have to be cooked. That kills some of the enzymes that allow it to be digested easily by the body. The liver has to overwork itself making enzymes to digest many foods that we eat today, some of which are not really foods. They are created substances. And our children, I'm sorry, are the ones who are to be the benefactor of much of that discretion later in their lives. They're not going to be as hardy as my generation, and I'm near 80. They're not going to be as hardy as your generation. I don't know what your age is, Mr. Malcolm, but you look pretty young to me. And so they need to worry about those things because our parents used to wash us out 4 or 5 or 6 times a year with different kinds of things.
Mojo herb.
Yes, herb bush, herb tea. You remember that package, the yellow package, when they brought the herb tea for you to drink?
You get washed out before you go back to school for the new school year. Yes.
What did it say about your brain? Why you can't go back to school like that? Your brain too sweet. You're not going to learn. So they washed you out. All right. Castor oil was one of the ones. Then there was the worm powder that you got on the moonlight night. I can't remember what time of year, but you got that. There's what Think Bible that we call aloe vera. That washes out everything. And by the way, anybody who gets a burn or a cut, put Think Bible on it. That's what they carry in space for those astronauts that have to live in the International Space thing and other astronauts, because it heals up without a scar, and we don't want scar tissue in any place in our body, okay? Because it causes pain and hurt later on. So all of these little things, remember what your grandparents, those of us in my age and maybe the next generation down, what did your grandparents do? They washed you out 4 or 5 times a week, after Easter, after midsummer holiday, after Christmas, definitely, because of all the beautiful cakes we ate and all the other things. Do those things and add some more, because now we have gone on and have added some other stuff. But the regular stuff, drinking of, broadleaf thyme, French thyme, they call it Cuban thyme, whatever. Those kinds of things. Soursop leaf is good for the nerves. I won't go through all of it. But Mr. Malcolm, encourage people to go back to some of the things their grandparents and great-grandparents used to do for them. And we won't have to worry much about what we now are calling COVID-19. I'm sorry to say, if you do deal with your diet, deal with the diet in your mind. It's not just diet in your stomach, what you think determines what happens to you, what you think, what you eat, anything that goes into the body. The mind is included in the body, the pineal gland, all of those things. Be careful you do not calcify that, because if you do, you'll end up being one of the most horrible persons that could ever be on the face of the earth. And I can tell you that one person that I have in great mind, I'm not going to say who it is, whose mind has to be calcified to have done and allowed his minions to do what they did recently. God bless you.
Thank you.
I say Otep, which means peace.
Peace to you too, nurse. Thank you.
That's it. Bye-bye.
Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. That's a retired nurse sharing her thoughts with us. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, short and spicy. The virgin from foreign what talk there. Asking me if you need to know that the government of Jamaica is Queen Elizabeth government and Andrew Holness is her prime minister. I'm so educated that him not know that. So we are calling upon Andrew Holness to fulfill such right of our repatriation to the United Nations. And we want to tell Rascava he must be an international listener and not a national speaker. I never hear Mr. Repatriation is a greater progress. You might talk about Rasta not deal with migration. You never hear Mr. Repatriation is a greater progress. You must listen. Blessed.
Thank you. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. To the text line, 876-365-3346. This one says, Dervan, please help me to locate Winston W. Hittaker, Hittekar, producer and singer. I am his mother, Rose Edward. Anyone knowing of Winston W. Hittaker, producer and singer, his mother, Rose Edward, is trying to reach him. Tyrone Bernard, good afternoon to you. Tyrone says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. The news as broadcast is a downright depressing thing to hear. It cannot be digested without first hoping that they're only horror stories, make-believe, or some other kind of fable. At times, I think to just turn off the radio or TV unless there is a voice of reason like yours to condemn those dark-hearted characters, murderers. Do you newscasters get psychological help when you have to be reading these acts of violence against our women and children? Janu Star, scratch my head, says by Tyrone Bernard. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with us, Tyrone Bernard, and it's something worth exploring with respect to the impact, the psychological impact on those of us who actually have to read these stories as news presenters. Joan says, good day, Dervan. The role of government is to provide security for its people. They need to go find the guns. Get help from foreign countries if you can't do it alone. The foreign governments would be willing to help. We are a threat to the security of the world. We leave Jamaica and continue with our criminality in other countries. No doubt the state has a responsibility. That goes without question. But so too does every single individual. Every single individual has a responsibility to play his or her part in making Jamaica a safe place. Mr. Malcolm, I am a proud Black person, but I'd like to ask those people who always speak about the greatness of Africa, how come a few Europeans from Western Europe were able to sail down to Africa in a few little wind-aided boats in the 15th century and capture the world's second largest continent in its entirety? Then they were able, with the help of Africans themselves, to take millions of Africans to the West as slaves. Where were these great African leaders? And don't tell me they were duped. Where were their brains? Thank you very much for your message. Don't have a name, but that message was on WhatsApp. The WhatsApp line, same as the text line, 876-365-3346. Plum Dini says, good afternoon, Dervan Malcolm. Loving your program. Thank you very much, Plum Dini, for your message. Errol in New Jersey, welcome. Gaveth Peterson, good to have you joining us as well. And there's so much more to come after the break.
To be your destination. Take life the way it comes.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:30.
We see you, 2021.
Now it's time for the Happy New Year we've been waiting for. What are your goals this new year? Is it owning a home, land, or vehicle? How about growing your business? We've helped you through 2020, and we'll help you achieve your financial goals this new year with affordable terms, competitive rates, and our CIBC First Caribbean Client First service. Let's work together. Visit CIBCFCIB.com to learn more, or call us toll free at 1-866-743-2257. CIBC First Caribbean terms and conditions apply.
You see, when I thirsty, I reach for top shelf alkaline spring water. Refreshing, smooth, hydrating.
Top Shelf Alkaline Spring Water for superior taste and energy. Its naturally alkaline pH 8 is higher than all other imported bottled water. With its antiviral detoxifying properties, it strengthens the immune system and supports skin health.
So when you want spring water, drink up and live up with Jamaica's first award-winning Top Shelf Alkaline Spring Water. Available at Lee's Food Fair and Family Pride Supermarket.
It's dangerous. Slashing and burning to clear or prepare land for farming can cause uncontrollable fires in our forest reserve and forest management areas. You see them area now? Them protected under the Forest Act of 1996. These areas are managed to achieve conservation and preservation of the environment and all of its natural resources. When you go there now and go slash and burn in them area, you're breaking the law and contributing to the destruction of our environment. It's simple. Don't slash and burn. The environment will love you in return. This message is brought to you by the GEF UNDP GOJ National Protected Area System Project.
The year 2020 challenged the best in all of us, and we survived. Help us to celebrate the resilience of persons in your parish, those that you believe truly exemplified Jamaica's resilience in 2020. Send in their contact information and your reason for nominating them to honораwards@gleanajm.com. Message us at Jamaica Gleaner on all our social media channels, or upload your nomination to go-jamaica.com/honor-awards-nominations/. See the Gleaner for details. Farmers, come for a candid conversation with the Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Floyd Green. Learn more about the agricultural sector and the role we all play in its development. That's a Morning with the Minister, every second and fourth Friday of every month during Farm Talk with Althea McKenzie, right here on Power 106 FM.
Whatever seems.
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 5 menos 27. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 5h moins 27. Science, TDN le Wu Dian. Cha Arshur Tsi Fen. 27 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. A good time for us to continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Lady Jean in Monique St. Anne says, greetings, Dervan and the team of Power 106. I certainly enjoy the discourse you and Raskava have during the program. The text the caller referred to is Matthew 16:8. Have a good afternoon. Thank you very much. Matthew 16:18, sorry. Matthew 16:18. Let's take a look at Matthew 16:18. Let's go with the King James Version and see what we've got. Matthew 16. Oh, sorry. Hold on there. Check that again. Let's check the message from Lady Jean. Yeah, I'm seeing Matthew 16:18. Right? So let's try that again. Matthew 16:18 in the King James Version. What does it say here? And I say also unto thee, that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Unless we have the wrong verse, this seems pretty straightforward. To the caller earlier on, this seems pretty straightforward. And I say also unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Thank you very much, Lady Jean in Monigue, St. Anne, assuming that is in fact the correct verse. Norman Hines says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm and listeners. Randy Lowe says, say that again, may I take notes? Norma Boyce says, good night from London. Hello from Kingston, well, St. Andrew, Jamaica, technically speaking. And all the best to you and the other Jamaicans and friends of Jamaica in London. Norma Jones, thank you very much for tuning in. Good evening to you too. Still afternoon here in Jamaica. Happy New Year to everyone, she says. Vernon Hunter, good afternoon. And thanks for the greetings on behalf of the Power 106 team. Paul in Toronto, Canada, good afternoon to you and the listeners. He says, Hortense in Mandeville, Manchester, is having a good laugh. I don't know at whose expense, but she has DWL. Errol still with us, and Gaveth Peterson. Thank you very much for making it both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Live on your smart devices all over the world. A couple more messages. Yeah, I think we got those. So let's move on. Let's go to the archives right now. How about that? Let's go into the archives and see what we find for this day, the 11th of January, 2021, here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. The 11th of January. Here we go. Right, so we did tell you, all right, we'll come back to that. But here's some history for you. On this day in 49 BC, Julius Caesar led his army across the Rubicon River, plunging Rome into civil war. On this day in 1569, England's first state lottery was held. On this day in 1753, Sir Hans Sloane died. Sir Hans Sloane was an Ulster Scot physician and collector, notable for bequeathing his collection to the British nation, which became the foundation of the British Museum. He also invented drinking chocolate milk and gave his name to Sloane Square in London and Sir Hans Sloane Square in his birthplace, Killay. In 1687, he became Fellow of the College of Physicians and came to Jamaica the same year as physician in the suite of the Duke of Albemarle. In 1687, Christopher Monk, the Duke of Albemarle, was governor of Jamaica. With him came Sir Hans Sloane as his physician. Sir Hans Sloane wrote 2 large volumes on Jamaica. The Duke died soon after landing, and Sir Hans Sloane's visit lasted only 15 months. During that time, he noted about 800 new species of plants in Jamaica, the island being virgin ground to the botanist. Of these, he published an elaborate catalogue in Latin in 1696, and at a later date, 1707 to 1725, he made the experiences of his visit the subject of 2 folio volumes. He became secretary to the Royal Society in 1693 and edited the Philosophical Transactions for 20 years. Sir Hans Sloane encountered cocoa while he was in Jamaica, where the locals drank it mixed with water, and he is reported to have found it nauseating. However, he devised a means of mixing it with milk to make it more pleasant. When Sir Hans Sloane returned to England, he brought his chocolate recipe back with him. Initially, it was manufactured and sold by apothecaries, pharmacists, as a medicine, though by the 19th century, the Cadbury brothers sold tins of Sir Hans Sloane's drinking chocolate. In fact, if you go to Cadbury's archives, you'll see a couple of clippings of Sir Hans Sloane's drinking chocolate ads. Many years ago, Cadbury had a factory in Highgate, Jamaica. It ultimately sold to Jamaicans who made a variety of chocolate bars for many years. You might even find Old Jamaica, a special blend of milk and plain chocolate with rum-flavored raisins. The Cadbury Classic Selection bar is no longer made for the UK market, but you can still stock up on Old Jamaica if you look around on the internet. The Oakland Chocolate Company is a bean-to-bar to bonbon manufacturer of handmade artisan chocolates. They proudly boast on their website that they exclusively use cocoa beans from Jamaica from the parish of St. Mary. If you check Amazon UK's website, you can get a box of 18 bars of Cadbury Burnville Old Jamaica for just under £37. Wonder how much of that is really coming from Jamaica, though. The extent to which we're still in the chocolate market. We'll have to do some more research. 1755, Alexander Hamilton, the first U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, was born on this day in 1755. Now, for a long time, historians accepted 1757, the year used by Hamilton himself and his family. Yet several cogent pieces of evidence from his Caribbean period have caused many recent historians to opt for 1755. In 1766, Hamilton affixed his signature as the witness to a legal document, a dubious honor if he was only 9. In 1768, a probate court in St. Croix reported his age as 13, highly compelling evidence since it did not rely on his testimony, but came from his uncle. When Alexander published a poem in a St. Croix newspaper in 1771, the aspiring bard informed the editor, "Sir, I'm a youth about 17, an adolescent's way of stating that he was 16, which would also tally with the 1755 date. The mass of evidence from the period after Hamilton's arrival in North America does suggest 1757 as his birth year, but preferring the integrity of contemporary over retrospective evidence, we will opt here for a birthday of January 11, 1755. In Ron Chernow's book, simply called Alexander Hamilton, Hamilton is described as an illegitimate, largely self-taught orphan from the Caribbean who rose with stunning speed to become George Washington's aide-de-camp, a battlefield hero, a member of the Constitutional Convention, the leading author of the Federalist Papers. The first of the Federalist Papers were published in the New York Independent on October 27, 1787. The series of 85 essays written by Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, and John Jay were published under the pen name Publius. They felt that, in their words, the establishment of a constitution in a time of profound peace by the voluntary consent of a whole people is a prodigy. And so they wrote the Federalist Papers at a time when furious arguments were raging about the best way to govern America. The Federalist Papers had the immediate practical aim of persuading New Yorkers to accept the newly drafted Constitution in 1787. In this, they were supremely successful, but their influence also transcended contemporary debate to win them a lasting place in discussions of American political theory. Acclaimed by Thomas Jefferson as the best commentary on the principles of government which ever was written, The Federalist Papers make a powerful case for power sharing between state and federal authorities and for a constitution that has endured largely unchanged for more than 200 years.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45.
Tune in to Farm Talk, 6:18 to 6:35 a.m. the first Tuesday of every month, and 6:18 to 6:45 p.m. the last Tuesday of every month for First San in the Field. Real issues, real solutions. Join the Newport First San team in the field as they identify problems and tell you how to address them. First San in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions is brought to you by Newport First San Jamaica Limited, the first on the land. Farmers, come for a candid conversation with the Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Floyd Green. Learn more about the agricultural sector and the role we all play in its development. That's a Morning with the Minister, every second and fourth Friday of every month during Farm Talk with Althea McKenzie, right here on Power 106 FM.
And yet so far away.
Que ahora es en español, son las 5:14. Quelle heure est-il en français? Il est 5h moins 14. 现在几点了？5点加14分。14 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. And coming up in just a moment, we're going to have a word with Alicia White of Sagicor. But just before we do, we wanted to finish this bit of history. Well, maybe we'll have to get back to it. Because I think Alicia White has waited long enough, and we thank her for her patience and understanding in that regard. But we are delighted to be able to learn more. Boy, time flies. It seems like just the other day we did this already. Yeah. It's time for us to remind those of us who have heard and enlighten those who haven't that the Sagicor Sigma corporate run is still on. COVID-19 or no COVID-19, and it's entering its 23rd year. And while we're waiting to get Alicia White online, let's continue to keep it going. Right, so that we are standing by to give you an update on the plans for the Sagicor Sigma corporate run. And not sure why we're not connecting to Alicia White. Alicia White, we're still trying to connect. Still trying to connect. At this rate, we perhaps will have to reschedule, but let's continue trying behind the scenes. Maybe she had one of those meetings. After all, it's a busy time for her and her team at Sagicor. Let's see if we can connect right now and get the discussion going in just a moment here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, on Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. And Job would be very proud of his daughter, Alicia White, who had been waiting patiently. Alicia White, Happy New Year to you. How are you?
Hello, Dervan. Happy New Year to you as well. How are you?
I am fine, thanks. Thank you so much for the work that you continue to do in leading the Sagicor Foundation and continuing the tradition of the Sagicor Sigma corporate run, notwithstanding COVID-19 and the vagaries of COVID-19. So how is this year looking?
Well, this year is looking like we've had to pivot, to use that word that everyone seems to be using these days, but we all hate. We've had to pivot, and we've decided that we are going to go ahead with the 23rd staging. However, it is going to be a primarily virtual run. We have invited, as usual, our corporate partners to run, and they are registering as we speak. I'm actually quite heartened by that. And their teams will be running and submitting their times, and we will be giving awards as a result.
And we're going to come to those specifics in a moment. But we gather that you have another champion of a patron. You seem to have a knack at selecting these champions.
Yes. Our patron this year is Brianna Williams. Such a lovely lady, actually. Yes. We met recently, very recently, and she has decided to come on board to help us in promoting this cause. It's an Olympic year for her, so she is going to be busy, but she is going to lend her voice nonetheless.
Right. Now, how can the rest of us lend more than just our voices, but our legs and all other parts of our bodies in getting physical? What do we need to do right now? Now, those listening to us and hearing, hey, the Sagicor Sigma corporate run is on in its 23rd year now, and it's going to be largely virtual.
Well, what needs to be done right now is that people need to register. You go to SagicorSigmaRun.com. The website has not changed, but it is important that you register early. Those are some specifics I guess we'll get to a little bit later on.
Yes.
But registration opened on January 4. Yes, we launched today, but it opened on January 4 and it will close on February 12th. However, if persons would like to participate in another special aspect of our run, we encourage them to register before January 31.
I see.
And of course, there are those people, there are those people who are not going to run at all.
Yes.
I'll take the donation. And SagicorSigmaRun.com is also that place where you can donate online this year using your credit or debit card. And of course, if you want to pass by and give us a check, I'll take it.
We hear you loud and clear. No, so the invitational event itself is a sort of like a premium event, an exclusive event.
Right. So in the pivot, we realized, several runs have been virtual.
Yes.
Yeah. And as you know, we prosecuted that so extensively last year, February. And you and I spoke about how the virtual run would allow persons in the diaspora to participate.
Yes.
So we were really happy to have launched virtual running in Jamaica in February of 2020. Now, as it turns out, we're going to be doing that even more, and people want to run on their own.
Oh.
But as a corporate run for over 22 years, or this is our 23rd year, we wanted to give persons the opportunity to actually run. So what we have done is we've decided to invite some persons who have been top 10 finishers over the last 3 years. Not everyone who's a top 10 finisher over the last 3 years will be invited, but there's a specific metric, and we are going to be inviting them. So only if you register for this year's run will you be this year's virtual run, can you be invited to register, because we would be pulling your name,
yes,
so to speak, from our system and matching it among the top 10 finishers over the last 3 years.
Right.
So if you are one of those persons who has been selected, we have on the 21st of February a special invitational run. It's a new route. It is through New Kingston primarily, and it is a double loop of a specific route. That information would be on our website as well, because I know persons will want to train and so on. Right now, it's 100 persons that will be invited, 2 persons from each of our top corporate teams over the last 3 years, and then some individuals who have also done extremely well. 50 female, 50 male, and we'll set them off females first, and then the males, or males first and then females. I can't remember that right now. I'll tell you that when we talk again.
Yes.
But yeah, so we'll be 50 at a time, and that this is what we have been allowed to do. Of course, we fingers crossed, prayers up, that we will be able to execute it, considering where we are at now with our COVID-19 numbers in this nation. But and that's how we have to live, really. We just have to make sure that we're doing our part.
Yes.
And we press ahead with the plans.
And what do I need? You in terms of registering, what's the cost of registration? And considering we're reaching both those at home and in the diaspora, if you could give us the equivalent rate.
We are 2,000 Jamaican dollars.
Yes.
I beg your pardon. If you're participating, if you're registering to participate in Jamaica, or 15 US.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you can pay in US if you're in Jamaica as well. We don't mind.
And that's we can
register.
Yes. So we go to the website sagicorsigmarun.com.
Yes.
Right. And who's benefiting this year?
This is something that we're really excited about. So in the past, and I'll tell you, the Port Antonio hospitals, pediatric and maternity wards, and the Annotto Bay hospitals, pediatric and maternity wards, are the health beneficiaries this year, every year, and this year was no different. When I heard them speaking, or the CEO and the SMOs, the senior medical officers of those institutions speaking, my heart really goes out. I mean, Jamaica is a country that needs a lot of help, especially in our health sector. And there's one of the hospitals, I can't remember which it is right now, does not have a functioning ventilator. So if a child is born and needs to go on a ventilator, you have to transport them far away in order to get them urgent critical care. And we can't continue to operate like that, which is why we exist, really. And then we've created we are creating, a special remedial 1-year program for students who have been adversely affected by online learning, I shouldn't say it like that, by the pandemic. Yes. Their education has been affected by the pandemic. So whether or not they have not been able to learn online, because there are those persons whose learning style has not fit online at all. And then there are those persons who didn't have tablets. Part of Sigma Run proceeds will go towards tablet purchase and purchase of MiFi devices, so that persons can have the data to do their online Zoom classes and so on. But this remedial program over 1 year is called Get Back on Track. And it's specifically geared towards reteaching curriculum from 2019, 2020 academic year, or 2020-2021, I beg your pardon, academic year.
Sounds like you're onto something here. I mean, over the past 22 years, you've raised about $450 million donated to health, child-related, and educational initiatives. And last year, in the midst of that pandemic, COVID-19, $55.3 million raised for Clifton Boys Home, Savannah Lamar Hospital, and Bustamante Hospital for Children. If you have done all of that, then we can't wait to see the outcome of 2021. Sorry we got to you a little late, Alicia
No
White.
worries,
Thank
we'll
you for your
again.
patience, but we definitely will talk again. on your cue. We look forward to that.
Thank you so much. All the best.
You too. Take care. Alicia White, who is leading once again the Sagicor Sigma corporate run as the head of the Sagicor Foundation, giving us an idea of what to expect. We're out of time. We'll talk tomorrow. Take care.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
News, comprehensive, powerful, and credible.
Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's news at 5.